Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live here Friday, October 10th. It's the third hour, so it's time for What Just Happened. Joining me, two returning champions. These are the world champs. Well, I don't want to get Judah Friedlander upset, but they are up there as champions. Dustin Chafin is back. Very funny comedian. He was recently on WTF with Mark Maron, currently on Big Dumb Eyes tour with Nate Bargatze. Really funny guy. And his drive-by comedy special, Nothing More American, on YouTube. And there's nothing more American than Dustin Chafin.
Hey, I am. I'm native and I'm part of the Hatfield family. So I am a cowboy and a native.
There we go. Wow, you're both in one person. That's amazing.
I am.
Also back, who's also pretty much American, I would say. V Spehar, journalist, creator of Under the Desk News on TikTok, has more than 3 million followers. And Substack, very popular now, underthedesknews.substack.com. V, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me back.
Sure, thanks for being on. So, big news today. Donald Trump didn't win his Nobel Peace Prize. And we're wondering,
what are the odds?
What's going to happen? Is he going to have Pam Bondi fabricate criminal charges against the Nobel Peace people? I don't know. All I can tell you is that I like that the person who won, Maria Corina Machado from Venezuela. And I don't think the Nobel Peace Prize people were trolling Trump, but it's on some level they could be, because they recognize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights and for a struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. And I find it interesting because Trump is trying to do a peaceful transition from democracy to dictatorship. He's really, it's like the opposite. And she said that she's standing up to the ever expanding authoritarianism in Venezuela while we have that right here in America. I mean, Black Hawk helicopters and an apartment building. We have troops from Texas invading Illinois. This is Jefferson Davis stuff going on, except the Black Hawk helicopters. So, V, let's start with you. So what do you think? Trump doesn't want the Nobel Peace Prize. MAGA people are all upset. They're all over the place. What's your reaction?
I think it's one of these things where it's just even more absurd than we think. It's not just that he didn't win. He was never in consideration. It's not like the Nobel Peace Prize has like a finalist round and then they pick from the 5. He was never considered. This reminds me of like the fact that they let him hold the FIFA trophy once and he was like, this is my trophy now, I'm keeping it. Or like when they let him go into the Yankees locker room and he's like, I could have been a Yankee. It's like, no, you couldn't have been. You weren't even in the running. It's cringe, very, very strange behavior, but I mean, I expect nothing less from him. I'm sure he's going to throw a tantrum.
Yeah, it's like that fake doctor that just prints up a diploma, starts seeing people. I'm a doctor. Hey.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What will stop Trump? Remember, he put the Time Magazine Man of the Year cover when he didn't get it. He could just print out a Nobel Peace Prize and put it in the country club, and
he does not care. He does not care.
And he believes all the AI, everything that's all the fake memes, he believes all of it to be fact. It's hilarious.
I mean,
and scary.
What do you make, though, the MAGA world really upset online? They're really, really mad. Oh, this is ridiculous. One member of Congress, a Republican, wants to introduce a resolution that Trump should be awarded a Nobel Peace Prize. Like the U.S. has anything to do with it. It's not our country. We don't do it. But this is like they're going ballistic, and it brings me an inappropriate amount of joy. As I wrote on Twitter, as I wrote on Blue Sky, if enjoying this is wrong, I don't want to be right. Like this is how much I'm enjoying. To paraphrase an old song.
You always want, your bully to hear a no every so often, right? It's like when you're sitting in class and this kid's been terrorizing you forever and then finally gets caught cheating on a test, or finally the teacher says no to them and you silently have a moment of like, yes, we got this one. So I think it's silly. And I also think that there's this competition amongst MAGA and Trump loyalists to be the most apologetic. It's very North Korean, right? Like something's happened to dear leader and I have to like overperform my grief and outrage for him to sort of like try and stay in his good graces. And I just, what a silly thing for him to be like obsessed with. But he's also obsessed with getting in heaven now, and he thinks maybe this he thought would have given him like a golden ticket to heaven, because everything's transactional, especially your relationship with the Lord.
Is that the next TV series?
Yeah.
Trump
want to get in heaven
after he like Trump getting to heaven, or like the Apprentice heaven version.
Yeah.
Sorry,
except he's God. He's God. It's called the Apostle, and it's just all his MAGA weirdo people running around trying to prove that they can also perform miracles for him.
Well,
and
they
are.
I don't know if you've seen all the photos, but he's already hanging out with Jesus. And, he's
Buddha.
He's best friends with all these guys.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. So, I mean, there are people, yes, The Guardian, the UK publication, was actually writing an article yesterday, Dustin, how Norwegian officials were bracing for what if Trump didn't win? Like, what would he do to them? Would there be tariffs? So far, nothing. But do you think he lets them get away with it, or does he like lean into it more and begin to threaten them, or somehow go like, well, if Gaza holds up in a year, I'm definitely going to win it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a long-term planner, though.
He'll just bomb some random country. Who knows? Who knows that's the thing. It's so terrifying. Like, we don't know what to expect next. It could be some crazy thing that doesn't sound like it would be a normal thing that could totally happen at any given moment. We're just living it.
Do you think they lie to him like the way you lie to a child and you're like, listen, honey, you didn't win it this time because you haven't even been president a whole year, but next year it's going to be your year next year, just to sort of placate him through the day?
They're going to give him a participating Nobel Peace Prize.
Trophy. Yes.
Yep. Well, I love that when he said
it looks just like it.
The best part was when he said at the UN, I ended 7 wars. And like a lot of them weren't even wars. Like Ethiopia and Egypt were never at war. And they must have looked at each other like, were we at war? No. Okay, my friend, this guy's crazy. Like, that was the insanity of what was going. He's literally telling countries, it's one thing to tell the US press corps, which are sheep. It's another to tell leaders of other countries that they were at war when they were never at war. Like,
he believes it though, and they let him write it down, and he believes that the people that surround him are affirming him with good information. Like, to have the confidence at the UN to be like, your countries will go to shit if you don't listen to me. I know these things. Like, it's just embarrassing, and I do wonder how long they're going to hold on for. Like,
he ended the East Coast, West Coast beef, rap beef, like everything. Like.
That he solved Tupac. Like, he's gonna be like, I got everything. Biggie, I have it right here. I know
I have the documents.
Loch Ness Monster. The White House is like the Ripley's Believe It or Not museum. Like, he's got everything in there.
Oh,
Here, the Holy Grail. I found the Holy Grail. I got the Fountain of Youth. I want to go back to something he said. Trump has, because Dr. John Gartner, who's an expert he's a psychologist. He has Duty to Warn. Was on earlier in the week, and he mentioned Trump is more increasingly talking about the afterlife right now. And you picked on that too. And until Gartner said it, I didn't think about it. Then yesterday he talked about heaven again. I'm like, oh, and then you saw it as well. And like, that's interesting. That is someone planning, like, what's your 5-year plan? And it involves heaven. I think, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? St. Peter, hanging out with the big guys up there, What do you think?
Well, my mom was a hospice nurse. So I was asking her about, like, what, when people start talking about heaven, like, what does that mean? And she's like, it's a common thing when people are at the end of their life and they're sort of embracing, like, potentially a new diagnosis, or maybe they're starting to feel in their body they're not as well as they used to be, or they're not bouncing back the way they did. They'll start to talk about heaven. They'll start to plan what would it be like and reflect on their life. I was like, I don't know if he does that, though. I don't think he's, like, as in touch with his mortality as we think. And she's like, everybody is, though. It doesn't matter in death. Essentially, when you get to the end, it doesn't matter how much money or power or anything you had. You start to think about, like, was I a good person? Is there time for me to get into heaven? Is there time for me to extend my legacy through good deeds at the end? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. But so maybe he knows more about his health than we do. I don't know.
I think it's that. Also, I think it's like when you're in a comedy club and you're bombing, and maybe you're in a football town and you're like, "Go Browns!" and everybody goes.
Yeah,
crazy.
You just start saying stuff.
Like, when he starts to look weak, he just throws something he knows the base is going to go crazy about.
Yeah,
because they're all about the afterlife and all that stuff.
I don't know. I think that he didn't do this before. I think like today he's having the new spin. He's having his annual physical exam for the second time in the same year. So it's not, now it's a new semi-annual exam. When you're 79, you should go to the doctor more than once a year. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's something there. He's outlived his 3 siblings. He had 3 siblings. They're all gone. And I think that obviously his parents are long gone. I think there's a point where you start to actually look around and realize you're the oldest one in the room. You're the oldest one of your family.
Yep.
And
those are the other files I want to see. They're the medical records.
I know.
I mean, let's be honest. I don't want to burst Trump's balloon, but it's not heaven where he's going. If he's going, it's going to be the devil will be like, look, you've did more work than I ever thought. Come back. I think you know Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, we got a suite for you guys. Your own little island in hell.
Yeah. It'd be great if it was a Muslim heaven. You know what I mean? Just something that he would just go.
That's true.
They're all virgins. I don't think it really happens like that. You've got to. Let's not get into that. I'm not getting into that.
Sorry.
So, all right. So, no, gentlemen, that's okay. Gentlemen, Dustin Chafin and V Spehar. No, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I don't want to think about him going to any heaven.
I'm not about censorship. I don't care. You can ruin my career.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Say what you want, and All right, let's talk about this is how bad of a week it was for MAGA 2 weeks in a row. This week, no Nobel Peace Prize. Last week, Bad Bunny
I know.
is this halftime act. And by the way, with the MAGA thing, so Bad Bunny becomes a halftime show performer, and Trump loses to a Latino woman for this one. They really are being replaced. I mean, I hate to say it, but they were worried about they're not going to replace us. We're replaced right in front of us. Bad Bunny. And Bad Bunny trolls them on SNL speaking in Spanish, saying you have 4 months to learn what I just said because you're going to sing all in Spanish. So it doesn't work. I mean, you're from Texas. I imagine Spanish was there, talked about much more than even here, just growing. Now it's everywhere. I mean, it's all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, I feel there should be a mandatory foreign exchange program in this country. People need to experience other cultures. I was a missionary. I lived in Chile for 2 years. I speak pretty good Spanish. Like, It's just the fact that people can't, look outside America. It's all about the world, and people are just so stupid. And if we can handle Maroon 5, we can handle Bad Bunny on a halftime show. We had to see that guy take his shirt off. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that bad. And you know what? We can't understand Eddie Vedder. We can't understand
Dave
some of these people.
Anybody,
Bob Dylan. We can't understand what they're saying. It's like they're speaking English. Like, this guy's great. I think he's very funny. Like Bad Bunny, I think it's perfect for the halftime show. I'm very excited about it. I also think halftime shows are for people that don't watch football. So the people that usually pick are like people that aren't football people, and they're the ones there for the commercials and the dip, and that's who they're catering to. The other half. So it's brilliant advertising, to be honest with you.
And by the way, Turning Point's doing their counter programming, calling it the All-American Halftime Show, even though Bad Bunny is a U.S. citizen. It doesn't matter.
And a Christian. He's Catholic.
Yeah.
He's a Christian.
Well, some of them don't like, some of the evangelicals don't like
I know they don't like the Catholics.
I know that.
Yeah.
But
he's American. Yeah.
He is.
So V, I mean, what would the All-American halftime show just be called? Whites Only? What do you think it's going to be called?
It's going to be a bunch of weirdos there with their laptops watching that instead of the.
First of all, imagine you're at the game, right? You're at the show at your friend's house, and you're there to see whatever guy you like, and they're like, we're going to turn on some worship music for 20 minutes. I would leave. And not because I don't appreciate worship music, but it would be like a really weird, cringe thing to do. Nobody's going to do that. Also, remember, this is a business, and the NFL is very smart. Right. The NFL has been playing games outside of the United States, trying to expand their audience for a while now. They just did a game in Ireland where they spent like $20 million or something to give every kid in Ireland like a football so that they could start to get them interested in football. Don't quote me exactly on that. That's like probably an exaggeration, but they spent a lot of money to give them football starter kits. They played games in Brazil. They're playing games all over the world. And I'm saying Bad Bunny is a huge international superstar, and growing the Latin audience is a priority for them and getting into those areas. And so when you look at why would the NFL pick Bad Bunny, it makes perfect sense. One, he's an incredible artist. Everybody likes his music and stuff. And he helps with expansion.
Yeah, and if you're going to watch this other thing during the halftime show, it's like, your racism and your faith is going to prevent you from watching a really good Budweiser animal commercial.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're going to miss.
I want to know who they're going to get, because like Morgan Wallen's not going to do it, right? Their king. He's like busy watching Bad Bunny, I'm sure. I don't know.
John Voight will read Shakespeare.
Yeah.
It'll be Scott Baio.
Lee Greenwood.
Yeah, Kid Rock will make an appearance for sure.
Dean Cain will do another obstacle course where he gets hurt.
Oh my gosh.
Like that whole thing. It's interesting to think, what a way for your friends to come out as being racist. We're going to turn this off now and turn on Turning Point USA. Yeah. Their halftime shows like, oh, that's how you do it now. That's the new way. You don't have to say you're a white supremacist. Like, I get it. They're
like, no, Dean, I'm not racist because most of the NFL is black. Those are my black friends. So I like them, just not this Bad Bunny guy. I mean, it's just so absurd.
When they're winning, I'm not racist.
Yeah. Absurd.
And by the way, the Giants somehow beat the Eagles yesterday. I'm a Giant
Unbelievable.
fan. I'm not even celebrating because it makes no sense. I mean, it makes I don't know what's going on.
That was like us losing to the Patriots though the other day. The Bills lost to the Patriots.
That was great
and I was
too.
like, what the hell's going on? Everybody's a
loser. There's a lot of I guess parity has happened, and there's an exciting quarterback on the Giants, Jackson Dart. But still, I couldn't, I turned on, this can't be real. Is this a replay? Is the game off the air tonight? Because I was at an event for a Hen's show, actually, and I came home and they're up by 10. I'm like, what? And then they
because
the
Eagles are doing the butt push like 5 times in a row. You're like, all right.
Yeah. I thought everyone was injured. I'm like, well, no one could have been there. But the quarterback wasn't there. Saquon Barkley wasn't there. It's like the second string. No, it made no sense. But in any event, that's football. And you're 100% right. It's a business decision by them. Yeah. And that's why they're not going to back down, because if they back down, they're going to piss off the
They're not
audience they're
backing
trying to
down.
court right now.
They
Because
knew what it
Latinos were
was.
like, what did you do that for? You hired him, now you fired him. This is embarrassing. You know,
I think the NFL's got balls now, like more than they did. I even like last year because I work with the Buffalo Bills on Pride, and every June they make a post. It's like a no big deal thing, and then people comment and say nasty stuff. And this year the Bills were like, we look forward. They're like, every month we do a different month. Okay, do you complain about this in May when we do Veterans Month? You complain. We'll see you in October for breast cancer protests. Like,
Right.
knock it off. Leave us alone. Everybody can be a fan. And so I think we are seeing a little bit more pushback on like the culture wars and politics coming into sports because people want to break from it. They just do. They're sick of it. They just want to watch their game and not have to think too much about like what MAGA's going to flip out about that day.
That's interesting. And the Bills, you're a big Bills fan.
Yeah.
And they lost at home, right? To the Pats.
Yeah, we did to the Pats.
Which
Yeah,
is
and
really
a rivalry jerseys. I'm telling you, it's the jerseys, man. They had everybody wearing all white to the, first of all, when you try to do white power, you will fail. And that is evident by the Bills' first loss of this season being when they made us wear the all white jerseys and said to white out the stadium. And you can't do that to a superstitious team. We'll never wear a white jersey again, I promise you. That was the end of white power for the
It could have
Bills.
been Josh Allen's politics. I'm just going to say.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just,
His lack of politics and his sweet, lovely wife.
chat with Dustin Chafin and V Spehar. Okay, so this was kind of interesting. And I really think these are like the senior moments that the media doesn't cover in a way that Trump thought habeas corpus was a person. And he was asked Wednesday, have you given any more thought to possibly suspending habeas corpus to deal with these insurrectionists across the nation and deport illegal aliens? And Trump says, suspending who? And they said, habeas corpus. And he turns to Kristi Noem. I don't know. I'll leave it to Kristi. What do you think? She's like, we haven't talked about that, sir. Because habeas corpus is the idea of just rounding people up and not even charging them. Just like, you're going to go to jail now. You're going to be in a thing called like a gulag. And but Trump knows what habeas corpus is. The same way he knew who King Jeffries was a week ago and just forgot. The media gave him a pass. He goes, I met with this very nice guy. He was a nice guy. And he really said that. And it reminded my mom when she had dementia.
Yeah.
And before she passed, talking about her home healthcare person. She goes, that lady's really nice. And I would say her name, like, she's been here for years. She's very nice. I'm like, I know. She couldn't remember. So you just fill the void of not being able to remember with just nice words. Trump is having more and more senior moments. And by the way, that MAGA influencer asked him, wanted him to say, I'm thinking about suspending habeas corpus. He might not be because he doesn't know what it is. He can't remember. Stephen Miller is. So, I mean, what do you think, V? Do you think the corporate media, I interviewed Jim Acosta 2 days ago, who said the corporate media is paralyzed with fear to really go after this issue and talk about Trump's physical and mental decline that we are seeing that's every day it's going to get a little worse. That's how it works.
Well, I think that's why we're seeing a lot of legacy and trad media losing trust. And so who are you going to be more loyal to? This fear that you have of Trump or the fact that you're losing audience because we can see with our eyes what's going on? And what comes after him not knowing who habeas corpus is? He thinks it's a person. Is he going to designate the posse comitatus as a terrorist cell? Like, that's the posse of terrorists. Like, we cannot pretend that the emperor does not have clothes anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just at a point where it's crazy. And I don't even think it's about Trump specifically. It really reveals to me how much power Stephen Miller and other people that surround him have and the lies that they're telling to him. So if you're truly MAGA, if you love Trump and he's your God and savior, you should be concerned about all the lies that these people who surround him are telling him to get their own way then.
Yeah, and they're going to protect him at all costs because they ran on the campaign of Biden being too old to do this and too senile, and it's the exact same thing.
It's a cult of personality.
Do you think if it got bad enough, Dustin, that the people around him would go public or never? Do you think it's just that you can't because he's the supreme leader?
Not with this administration. They're going to protect him at all costs. There's no way they're going to show vulnerability. That's what this whole thing is about.
Yeah, and
I think
if they
they're going to prop him up weekend at Bernie's. They don't care.
It is like, and think about Stephen Miller. Those guys, they would love to have an even more pliable Donald Trump. Like, here's your cheeseburger, sign this. And Stephen Miller gets to be the president emperor that he really wants to be. So much so, I don't know what Trump really wants to be. I know he just wants revenge. And he wants everyone to like him and fear him at the same time, where you really can't have both. You know, if you're going on the fear thing, you're going to alienate a lot of people. But he wants to be loved and feared, which Machiavelli said you got to pick one or the other. And he's trying to pick both. I mean, what do you think happens? Do you think around the table, around cabinet meetings, they have to know he's sliding? It's like they see it. There are times where he's lucid, and there's times where his energy's like And then I was like, oh, I was doing like this. I'm like, what's
Mhm.
wrong with you?
But they don't care. I mean, just like when Bush Jr. was inadequate, like they did, that's when Dick
They get
Cheney
around him.
slid in, and they just need a puppet, and they don't care. They
I
really.
think
Hmm.
with Trump, for Trump the person, what I've noticed is he was really butthurt by not winning in 2020. He really felt like that was an affront to him and a lie. And I think it made him question his place in the world because he really thought he had it and he would just keep being president. And then when that didn't happen, he had to almost face that he was unlikable or that something happened and he lost what he had. And so his comeback trail was all about vengeance and revenge. When he got elected president, you started to hear him talk about how, like, he was going to be a president for all people. He wasn't going to be, but
No,
he
not yet.
had this idea that he could rehabilitate his image and that everyone would love him. And maybe people told him that everyone would love him. And when they didn't, then he went for revenge again. It was like he couldn't
Yeah.
rehab, so now he's on the warpath.
Yeah, but it made him stronger though, because
Yeah.
his base, they had something more to fight for.
Yeah.
So it got, it's got the
You see
mob.
it in the comments when they're like, he's your president. Someday you'll realize how good he was to you, even though you didn't appreciate him. And I'm like, do you guys really believe that? You really believe that?
And
Yeah.
look at Trump talks about how popular he is all the time, making up numbers. I mean, it was a Reuters poll yesterday at 40% approval. Like
Yeah.
he's now about to drop into the 30s, it looks like. There's a
Mhm.
lot of things going on. I don't think
Mhm.
solving Gaza might give him a 1 or 2 point bump, but polls
I don't
show
think so.
individually people don't like the economy is slowing. They don't like troops in the street, except for like 38% of Americans. There's the
I don't
heavy hit
know.
of this indicting Tish James, like putting in writing. It's not even speculation. He put in writing, Pam, go get her,
Do
and then
it.
she's indicted. Like,
Yeah.
so that flies.
He's pretty popular. He's the Bad Bunny of the presidency. I mean, this guy,
he's, he's the
it doesn't matter. And I
bad
think,
dummy.
Yeah.
yeah, it's bad dummy. That's hilarious.
So what do you think about Tish James? I mean, he literally put in writing, Pam, and now we're learning it was supposed to be a DM,
Hmm.
which maybe or maybe not. Pam, go get her. Tish James, James Comey, and Adam Schiff. And then they got Comey gets indicted by Lindsey Halligan, his lawyer, who they send over. And then I look forward to her being disbarred. I hope that
Hmm.
happens one day. And then now Tish James on a case where you read the indictment, it's about she may have saved $19,000 over the course of a mortgage, and that's what they're trying to prosecute her on. They got an indictment, which is a bullshit case. I mean, it's an
Yeah.
absolutely bullshit case. So, I mean, V, what do you think? How do you think this plays the average American? Do you think they pay attention? How do
No.
we reach them on how dangerous this is?
No, because this is another part of the Steve Bannon flood the zone thing. The Epstein files are the thing that the public wants, and they see every single one of these little bullshit cases that come up and little distractions as exactly that. They're like, okay, yeah, cool story, release the Epstein files. So I think, like, I don't know that anybody's getting any kind of like big hit off of any of these prosecutions that he's done recently, because he continued. The big story is Mike Johnson not swearing in the new congresswoman from Arizona to,
Yeah.
to get the 218, to get the Epstein file. So I think until he does that, he could flood the zone with whatever he wants. People are pretty focused on the same thing here.
Interesting. Dustin, do you want to see the Epstein files? Do you think there's something there?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what we want. It'll never happen. We'll never see
Hmm.
those things. Those things are long gone. It's
Like,
just maybe in 10 years or something.
Hmm.
right. Like when I say to you, do you want to see the Epstein files? I feel like I'm asking you if you want to see like the new Star Wars movie. And you're like, not in the theater. I'm going to see it at home.
I'll
I'm
wait
going to
till
wait
it's
till it comes out. Then I'll watch it. That kind of thing. Like, because polls show like 80% of Americans want to see what's in it, but
yeah.
how much it only matters to a subset of Americans. And
He's not going to prosecute anybody in it, so he might as well just release it. If he had released it months ago, it already would have been over with. It's the fact that they keep dragging it out that makes it seem more valuable.
it's remarkable. All right. So let's take a break. We got to come back a lot more. Katie Porter breaking down on some of her staff, which is always funny. But I thought Jimmy Kimmel, we'll come back and talk about that. Jimmy Kimmel and Aziz Ansari
Mm.
going to Riyadh to the Saudi Comedy Festival. I have friends there right now. I just saw Mo Amer's there. Like the names that aren't like household names are not getting any flack. They're just
Yeah.
going, doing the gig and coming home. And like people are like Master Bronny, my buddy went, and I saw he took everything down from Instagram about it because he didn't want any kind of talk. So
No
let's take a
smoke.
break. We'll
Yeah.
come back and chat about that and more right after this. And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. It's still what just happened, and Dustin Chafin and V Spehar are here. So last on Tuesday night, Jimmy Kimmel had Aziz Ansari on. Well, I know Aziz from the early days of comedy when he was a newer comic and I was new, and we would talk. And Jimmy Kimmel says it's a brutal regime in Saudi. How could you have done there? They've done horrible, horrible things. And Aziz said, like, we've done horrible things too. But then they went back and forth, and Aziz got to the point where he said, look, you can either engage or not. That the choice. And he goes, I gave it a lot of thought. I thought engaging to speak to the people directly through comedy was something I wanted to do. He said it was something I felt I should be a part of, and maybe I can move things in a positive direction. And he said, especially because the way he looks, and he's from a Muslim family, even though he doesn't practice. And afterwards, Jimmy Kimmel said, he made me think about it differently. Like, that's what Jimmy said. I actually gave me something to think about. I had not thought about that potential. But to me, it's kind of remarkable that there's been so much press about this. Dustin, I mean, are there any countries, any festivals sponsored by any countries where you're like, nope, not going to do it?
Well, I mean, I did comedy for the troops during the Iraq War, so it's kind of the same. Whereas, I mean, there was a lot of people against what was happening, and I was just, hey guys, I'm from Texas. What's going? You know, I do feel that, like, I just wish people be honest. I don't care about these heartfelt answers. Just be like, dude, it's like, because most of us have worked for drink tickets or half of our career. We get treated poorly, don't get paid. And so just be like, I did it for the money. I want to buy a new house or whatever. Just be honest. It's just, everybody's trying to give their own thing. Like Louis C.K. It's like, shut up, dude. You're just taking the money.
Do you remember what he said? What did Louis say?
Basically, just like, it's he wasn't affected by people just criticizing. Obviously, he'll do anything. Like, he doesn't care. I mean, what the guy does in a green room is he I don't know. I just say, I'm just doing it for the money. Don't try to make it some other thing that's going to make us like you, because we're not going to like you. I think Bill Burr is I'm most disappointed about Bill Burr, and I think because he fights against all that stuff. He's kind of our Bill Hicks right now, and so for him to do it. And then I think it was hard for everybody to turn it down once somebody like Bill Burr was doing it. I think because we're sheep, comics are like, oh, that's the biggest comic in the world. Of course we're going to do it. If he had said no, if he had went against it, I don't think as many people would have joined up. I really feel it would have affected the whole thing.
Right. So V, if they were doing this, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to help their reputation, it just ended up rehashing all the bad things. Like, it didn't help. If that was the reason they spent so much money, it wasn't the winner.
Yeah, if they did an all-female lineup, an all-gay lineup or something, then maybe that would be, a little more impressive.
Interesting. The Saudis have been doing this for a long time, though. And I used to be a pretty big WWE fan because, I love a show. And they bought up a lot of the WWE. And then they made this big, years ago, it was like 10 years ago, they were like, we're going to let women wrestle in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, but they had to be covered head to toe. And the only people allowed in were men that are selected essentially by like the government for like who deserves to see this particular production. So for people to think that they're having an authentic experience with the Saudi people, you're not. And for you to think that like people are going to take the money when they're offered the money, also they are. And again, the news cycle is going to move on from this in like 2 seconds to something else. Now, the bigger picture of what the Saudis and Qatar is doing to try and like infiltrate and purchase Western culture, that's a little bit tricky. And I'm a little bit more concerned with Pete Hegseth today saying that Qatar is going to get an air base in Idaho. Like, that's bananas. Like, sure, okay, the ethics of like the comedians are supposed to be like our new gurus on the hill, right? We've made them these gods of like morality and setting the tone for the country. They're comics. They started off telling dick jokes, okay? I'm not surprised that they sometimes make mistakes with where they get money from. And also they have to fund the work that they're doing. So I'm more concerned with did the Saudis soften the ground for us to have a Qatar airbase in Idaho by buying up entertainment? I don't know, man. But some historian 50 years from now will have that answer.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I hope all these comics get canceled and nobody wants to go to their shows. And then it opens up a new slate for us underrated comics.
See, there you go. Kill or be killed.
I've done comedy in Saudi, but it wasn't through the government. It was comedy. When I was years ago, I did it with Gabriel Iglesias. We did a shows there, and then my other friend Aaron Cater, because I produced a comedy festival in Jordan for 3 years. That was involved with the city and the government of Jordan, the city of Amman, and it was fun. I mean, that was fun. We brought all different types of comics, but you had to be clean. Some people are like, "Oh, they gave these comics rules." I'm like, have you never done a corporate gig? This is what happens all the time. When you do a corporate gig, they tell you no religion, no politics, same rules, no sex, no politics. It's anything divisive. They just want you to make people laugh, and so they can, in between their dinner and they're hooking up with office workers, coworkers, they want someone to make them laugh. They don't want to hear divisive stuff. It's the same exact rules when we were there.
Look, if this comedy festival were in Israel right now, I would say that people would probably have like a bigger reaction because it's a more present situation that folks are understanding, like what's going on between Israel and Gaza and whatnot. And I think that would have really hit hard. If this comedy festival had happened in 2002, I think people would have been like much more directly emotionally reactive.
Right.
So it kind of is what it is. I get asked to go to Dubai a lot. I don't go because I'm a gay person and I'm scared. But like, some people do, and that's fine for them.
Dubai's
so
nice. I've been there a bunch of times.
That's what I mean. Like, but I'm like, oh, I still got to make it through the airport and every other thing before I get to COP 28 or whatever. So I've said no to those things, but people make different decisions,
I remember I had some comedians, like, I think it was Greg Rogel, Dustin, who asked me, because Russell Peters asked him to open for him and go to the Middle East. And it's not like I knew Greg well, but we knew each other. And he goes, I'm Jewish. What's it going to be like? I go, they don't care. They're just there to laugh. I did the whole festival in Jordan, and probably a third of the comics were Jewish, and they wanted it that way. They go, we want this to be a diverse lineup of just funny comics, and people went on stage.
Yeah, I just got off a cruise ship. It can't be worse than that, as far as
oh boy,
just trying to entertain people.
How is a cruise ship world? Like, are there limits on what you can say there? Like, is it built into the cruise ship world?
Well, they'll have like a family show, and that's which is, I still trying to get used to that. I'm like, hey, I used to be a drug addict, and there's a 6-year-old on an iPad in the front row, and now I got heckled. I got heckled by kids this last show. But usually the adult shows, you can say whatever you want, and I go in hard. I don't go political, but I'll go edgy. And I have a good time.
What does a kid say as a heckle?
Just, I said something about video games, just yelling out Nintendo or what, I don't know what they say. There's obviously no father.
6'7", 6'7". That's all I hear from the kids.
Yeah.
6'7".
What do they say?
They say 6'7" at you all the time. They go 6'7". That's like their heck. It means nothing. It's just like if you are a boy ages like 10 to 20, you will say 6'7". It's like a tick that they have. Any of the parents listening will know 6'7" all the time.
I'm gonna write that down for my.
Oh my god!
That's funny. His whole new act.
6'7", and let's. Here's the other one. Let's get Sendy. They just say anything I say. They're like, let's get Sendy. I'm like, what does that mean, Sendy? Yeah. So send it is like when you shotgun a beer, but they say it for everything now. So like my nephew will be like, let's get Sendy with his like with everything, and it's like, oh my god, shut up.
By the way, Dustin, I don't know if I ever told you this. The best heckle I ever heard, because it was constructive. Did I ever tell you it was at Dangerfield, still Dangerfield's in New York here, and a comedian was on. This guy, Steve Marshall, and it's not about Steve Marshall.
I love Steve, yeah.
And Steve what happened is Kevin Brennan, who's really funny, Neil's brother, was killing. And then Steve went after him, was not doing well. And a person stood up and heckled and yelled, your setups are too long. And I'm like, that was the best heckle I ever saw, was trying to be constructive. Like, you need more punchlines. I was like, looking at the person, I'm like, is this happening?
It becomes a workshop and halfway through.
What is going on here? Like, this person's being constructive. They're not even malicious. I think it's probably more cutting to Steve. This was years ago. I'm sure he doesn't remember, but I always remember because
he remembers.
The funniest heckle. Yeah. It's the most.
Have you seen him lately? It's so short. Like, his setups are so short now.
That's because the guy changed his life. There was a guy, Dangerfield. If you're out there, you changed my life for the better. My setups are like this. I go punchline, punchline, punchline. So talk about, all right, setups here. Katie Porter is running for California governor. And I hate to bring it up because, I'm not doing it because she's a woman. I'd bring it up as a guy too. Like Josh Gottheimer has a terrible reputation in Jersey, and he's in Congress, and I brought that up as well. I thought this was more funny. So some video comes out from a few years ago when she was still in the house, and somebody goes through her shot with their videotaping, and she yells out, "Get out of my fucking shot!" And I'm like, I love that. I mean, I don't think it's good to work with a boss like that, but I'm like, you gotta appreciate the bluntness. I'm from Jersey. This is
everybody has a Christian Bale moment. You know what I mean? Like, you've just been doing something for so long, and people don't know what they're doing, and so I get it, and you snap. I
came from restaurants, so in the kitchen, I'd heard much worse than that. I wasn't that, I'm like not offended. Saying "get the fuck out of my way" is like common, and then you get over it. But if you're in the intense moment, you can't be like crying about it. And I don't think the woman that she said it to reacted poorly. She reacted like, "Oop, I am in the shot, and here's what I want to tell you." I think Katie Porter is a Gen X woman who has had it with this shit. Okay. She's been in the game for a while. Gen X women do not give a shit. They don't owe you kindness. They don't owe you coddling, and they will not give it to you. Unapologetically will not give it to you. So I'd rather have Katie Porter Gen X woman than I would Christine Nome Gen X woman. They're the same kind of cruel opposite ways.
V, do you think on some level that it helps or hurts with running for governor of California? Like, if there's not more stuff about the way treated her employees, I saw some mixed things, but like that kind of bluntness and directness.
I mean, look at the guy who's in second, right? He's like, he wrote a book called Califailure. He's a Republican who was born in England. He has a British accent, running for governor of California, extremely Trumpy. I'm sure he's had some really awful, terrible things. It's just he didn't have like some staffer that wanted to burn his ass back yet. And so there's not video of it.
Yeah,
But
I think it helps the party to show a little bit of edge. I mean, look at Gavin Newsom, and it's like, just,
Chuck Schumer loves to swear. Chuck
Yeah.
Schumer's favorite thing to do is to come on my show and go, "Hey V, fucking A," right? And I'm like, right, sure, Chuck.
That's what Chuck says?
Yeah, he loves to say the F word because he's from Brooklyn. So he'll bring it up on the kid shows.
Tell Chuck to take an improv class. He's
I
killing.
know.
Like, take an acting class.
My boy.
Improv 101, go to UCB, loosen up, Chuck. Like, even when he's trying to be, I'm like, these people, some people are just not suited for the time we're in. They were suited for a different time. They were really
I like Kamala Harris saying these motherfuckers are crazy. I like it all. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Gen X women are done. They're done. They've had it. We know them, and they're over it now.
So, well, I want to look. Trump has redefined politics that way. Remember, he would curse a little bit. People were like, "Oh, I can't believe a presidential candidate or a president." Now everybody curses. Like, I think Eric Swalwell. It's like some kind of thing where I'm like, is it authentic or is this gratuitous? Is this like gratuitous cursing? Because somehow it gives you like. So there's a fine line between being authentic and seeming just to be like trying to be a cool guy or a cool woman or whatever. Yeah. Like Katie Porter was being real here. This was no posing. This was like, get the fuck out of my shot.
Look, she's got kids and shit. She drives a minivan. All right. Like, she lives in Orange County.
She's at the airport all day. Yeah.
It's fine. I'm like, you know what, girl? I get it.
Well, it's going to be interesting how this all plays out going into, look, we are 1 year from the biggest election, the midterm election. We've got two important elections, Virginia and New Jersey for governor, coming up in just a matter of weeks now. Mm-hmm. But I can only imagine what we're going to see in primaries and Democrats and how many Democrats get primaried. You talked to a lot of Democrats via on your show. I mean, is there any sense of a concern that the people are coming for the establishment? People are really, I did a talk back last night after Hen's show, and everyone there, they're all New York Democrats, were like, Democrats suck. What is wrong with them? Yeah. Like, I don't know what to say.
Working Families Party has a lot of power right now because folks don't want to join the Democratic Party or donate to them, but they still want to be on the left. And so Working Families Party, I think, has been really capturing the moment. And I think that the establishment thinks that the old world is going to work for them just one more time. And I actually don't think it is. I think it's a danger to the Democrats that both the House and Senate minority leaders are both from New York City. I think that shows that coastal elite kind of ickiness that people don't like. And I think we're seeing folks like Zoran Mamdani challenge the status quo and really blaze a big path for people, where there's a guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he's primarying Nancy Pelosi in California, and he's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good. And so, we're seeing a lot of that come up. And I think the Zoran effect is going to be huge through 2026. And I think that the establishment just doesn't know that the fight has changed. They don't get it. It's a ground game now, and it's not a paid donor-supported ground game. Right. It's people doing the shit for free, knocking on doors.
Dustin, it seems like Trump is playing one game, whatever the game is, like smash a watermelon with like a big hammer, and Democrats are playing like badminton over here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and they're like, we're really good at this game. I'm like, that's not the game anyone's playing, though. You're playing, you're really good when it comes to wonky healthcare subsidies, which are important stuff. But that's their strength, leaning into that. Meanwhile, Trump is like literally just destroying everything. And they're like, but we're going to preserve these healthcare subsidies, which they have to fight on that. But I'm wondering if we're going to see a real change in the Democratic Party going forward. I mean, you're out there doing comedy all over. People talk.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the problem we had with this last election was we lost the left. We lost people and a lot of non-voters and things like that. I'm hoping that this time, because I felt like, in 2020, people were kind of like, okay, some crazy stuff is happening. We need to step in and do our work. So hopefully they energize those group of people that don't care, that are just kind of tapped out. We need people to tap back in. That's the problem.
I agree. I also like that people can't see it. Dustin writes things down here and there, and I'm dying to know what he's writing down. He's writing a whole new set. Like, he's like, there's a good joke there. So, all right.
6, 7. 6, 7.
6, 7.
Oh,
I've never heard that in my entire life. I don't even know.
I'm so blessed to know so many teenage boys.
The kids. Yeah. I'm going to look up all that stuff. So this sounds morbid of a story, but I found it interesting at the same time.
Mhm.
And the idea is like, if you're going to die on a ride, which ride would you die on? So this
Oh,
person
God.
was at the Haunted Mansion ride in Disneyland.
Oh, it's a great
And
ride.
the
Great
person
ride.
was unresponsive and died. It was called the Nightmare Before Christmas ride. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it's horrible. Like, what ride? But at some point, can it be a selling point for the ride? Like, it'll scare the
Oh
absolutely.
boy,
death-
that's every Disney adult's dream, right? To
Right.
die on a haunted mansion and then to have the lore follow them forever, especially the fact that Haunted Mansion in California has been rethemed. It's got reskinned to Nightmare Before Christmas. So it was extra super spooky. I feel like this lady is going to be in the lore forever now.
Like, she's trapped there. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff, right? First of all, there's if you die in a haunted house, are you trapped on a haunted house ride forever? Like, you're the ghost, like you're Beetlejuice, like you're just there all the time.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the problem. These things, they're for kids. You know what I mean? They're for people with good hearts. Like, I was on a cruise. Somebody got stuck in the water slide. And it was like, because they were too heavy to be riding a water slide. And it's like, and it was clear. So you could just see them stuck in there like a hamster.
Oh my God, like a Gustus Gloop. It was
like from Willy Wonka. And the pressure is building.
Oh,
it's going to be
no.
exciting. What's going to happen?
You got no business riding a water slide. And if you heart condition, whatever, don't do these rides. I don't know. They're for kids. I hate Disney adults. It's ridiculous.
You have to be, so the sign has to be like, you have to be this hot, tall, and this wide? Like,
yeah, I think so.
Well, but
know yourself. Yeah.
But can't Disney use this as a selling point? Like, we have the scariest haunted house ride in the country. People died on it.
No, because they're already trying to get people to stop like secretly dropping ashes and cremains inside the Haunted Mansion. This is a big issue. We covered it a number of years ago, where there's like people will like sneak a certain amount of their dead loved ones' cremains onto the ride and sprinkle it like on the ride, like on Pirates of the Caribbean or like on Haunted Mansion. And they're like, you literally cannot do that. Like, please don't do that. It really like messes up the machines, and like, please stop dropping your dead relatives' ashes into our ride.
You live in a world of
the internet, babe.
And
the internet. I live on the internet.
So people, let me get this straight. People had a dead loved one, and they thought it would be a good idea to bring their ashes to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Yes.
And is there something I missed? Is something a cult? It's like, why?
No, it's like they were such a Disney adult that they want to be in Disney forever, so they like sprinkle some of their ashes there. Which
that'd be the worst. The same ride over and over and over for the rest of your life.
Well, it's always like Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and if you think about how many people do it, it does reach a sort of critical mass that Disney noticed, and so they're like, please, please stop doing this. We don't want to have to vacuum up your dead loved one.
Oh, that's like people getting their ashes at a golf course. They love golf. Now I get it. I thought I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was some weird occult thing where like, you do this and then they
it kind of is.
It's also that.
It's definitely a cult.
Yeah.
Not cult, like a cult, like OCCULT. This is interesting. I gotta say, I have only only interaction I have with children that I'm allowed to have at this point.
Or 500 feet away from school.
My nieces, but now they're growing up, and they're three girls, so they're more mature. They always were more mature. So I don't talk to any teenage boys. So I have no idea what they're saying and stuff like that. And to me, when I think about what young people say, it's like, what do people in their 30s say? That's like young people now to me. Now, like teenagers, I don't even know. I talked to two of my friends, their teenage kids came to Hen's show, and they just seem like there's something wrong with them. And then I realized they're not. They're just teenage boys, and they're just awkward and uncomfortable. They make you awkward and uncomfortable at the same time. But
they're so afraid of being surveyed. They're so afraid of ending up on a TikTok somewhere for being cringe. So they just like are constantly paranoid all the time, the kids.
Well, the biggest problem too is Gen Xers, we had good music to kind of lean into. They don't have that. They have K-pop and American Idol. And so I think that's what messes them up. They have no place to put it.
They need better music.
We had Joy Division. We knew how to deal with our depression. We had
Joy?
the Smiths.
What'd you say? Joy? Oh, the Smiths.
We had great bands to kind of like put energy into. They have nothing. It's horrible.
And what do they have now? I mean, you've got Drake and Kendrick Lamar. So here's
a segue.
It was. Well, you guys, I was looking at it right here. So Drake, I never heard of a defamation suit ever in I'm a lawyer. I haven't practiced law in years, but I never heard of one rapper suing another. I mean, what has happened? That they used to shoot each other. What
pussy shit is that, though?
Like,
come on.
Drive-by. So unwrapped.
Biggie and Tupac would be alive. Biggie and Tupac would be alive now, but they're in a courtroom instead of like suing
people.
They
need to let Suge Knight out of jail to put the hard back into rap music. This is insane.
So Kendrick, so just I'll set it up for people. This is not a joke, a real story. Drake got very upset that Kendrick Lamar and his big hit song, Not Like Us, which he also sang at the Super Bowl, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And he did it there. And in it, there's a thing about he calls Drake certified pedophiles, and the idea, what's the note? It hits a note.
A minor.
A minor, right? So Drake goes, I'm going to sue you for this. But this has been forever, the rap battle. I mean, I saw, the Straight Outta Compton. They were doing that then. Like, this is all.
Yeah.
So to go to court and sue him, it seems like you should have another song to mock you. So the court dismissed the lawsuit saying it's non-actionable opinions because it wasn't fact. You can only sue for defamation. You have to make a statement of fact, not opinion. Like, that guy's a certified. I could see certified pedophile. You could say it's fact, but it's couched in opinion in the context of the song. Like, this is pathetic. Dustin.
Yeah, I think Drake is definitely on the Epstein list. I mean, that's has to be the reason. And then also it's like, you write a better diss track. I mean, Eminem is the king. It's like people, that's what you do. And then that gets popular. And then you're bigger than the person that dissed you. And it goes back and forth. That's the beauty of hip hop. You can make a living just dissing another artist. And you go back and forth and it becomes a hit.
Would you? Is there any diss comics? Have there been comics that diss each other like this?
Podcast, everybody's going after. I mean, Maron's been going at people. It's like, people. There's a little bit of beef going, but that's the thing. We, podcasts get popular. I don't think our jokes, on stage, it doesn't work like hip hop.
It's not fair. Like, you can't compare. Like, I would like to see a comedian write a joke about another comic, and they're like, "Oh."
Well, Maron did that on his last special. He made fun of Theo Vaughn. That was part
he did.
He did a whole bit on his special. Yeah, and people got outraged.
Theo didn't sue him because he would.
He didn't.
He looked like a weenie.
Yeah. Comics. We don't do that.
Punch him in the face like a man. Advocate for violence.
I don't want violence, but I just think it's changed so much. Like, how corporate can you be? Where I'm going to call. You know what? I'm going to call my lawyer about that. It's like, really? Aren't you going to write something to mock me? And I don't know what's happening. I mean, I want no violence. I'm not advocating for Drake to shoot Kendrick Lamar or vice versa. I want none of that. I just think it was so weird that, and the lawsuit. Drake filed a lawsuit in January accusing Universal Music Group, the record label behind both rappers. He sued his own label.
You're a weenie.
That's got to be weird.
That's censorship, stupid.
You're a weenie, Aubrey.
That's what we're all fighting against. And
what would the teenagers say about this, V? Anything?
They would say,
Cindy,
6, 7, get Cindy. They would say he did it. They'd be like, "Oh, you did it. You totally did it. He did it. They called his lawyer because he did it."
This is crazy. All right. Before we run out of time, I want to give you both a chance to plug what you're working on, where people can find your great work. You're both doing this stuff all over. So, V, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, the best place to find me is on TikTok and Instagram. It's at Under the Desk News. We do the day's news and events in a kind way from a safe space, literally under my desk, or subscribe to my Substack at underthedesknews.substack.com. That's where we get a little bit saucier with things. We will give you a lot more information and deep dives on the shit that's happening in the world and how you can do something with it.
Deeper dives on Substack. That's what you're saying. All right, great. And Dustin, what about you, my friend?
Catch me on Instagram at Dustin Chafin, 1F. I have a bunch of shows coming up. I'll be on the Neighbor Gotzi tour. We'll be in Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Dallas. And then on Halloween weekend, I know you have a lot of Tulsa, Oklahoma listeners. I'll be at the Looney Bin headlining the whole weekend. So come on out for that. And
Well, the Liberty Bin? What's it called?
The Looney Bin.
The Looney Bin. The Looney Bin in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Go see Dustin in
comedy
person.
clubs have the worst names. It's always like bananas.
Well, say hi to Nate. Nate was always a nice guy, and it was so nice of you both to be on. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.